Thanks for staying with us on Monday Special. We've just come to the completion of the holidays, and the holiday season usually, especially here in Kenya, comes with overindulging at festive get-togethers. You know, when you travel shags or upcountry, you know, your grandma usually will have set a feast for you there. Christmas usually comes with a lot of eating, and sometimes that can lead to overindulging, which can bring extra calories your way. Our hashtag this evening is Monday Special KE, and we'll be talking about healthy eating post the holidays, post the festive season, how you can get back on track. Our guest in studio this evening is Gladys Mugambi, Head of Nutrition, Ministry of Health. Thank you very much for being with us. And we're also joined by Dr. Josephine Kibaru, who is the Director General, National Council for Population and Development in the Ministry of Planning and Devolution. Good evening.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us. So I'll start with you, Gladys. The biggest mistake Kenyans make when it comes to nutrition during the holiday season. I see we actually have a lot of props here in studio, and we'll be going into portions and what good eating is, what a good eating plan is. But before that, let's talk about the key areas of concern when it comes to mistakes that you've observed Kenyans making over any festive season.
Thank you for inviting me, first of all. And what we've realized is that Kenyans do not care so much about what they eat. They like foods that are tasty, like the nyama choma. We are now moving to chips, the tasty, those ones that smell nice. And then we don't care about how much, especially during the festive season. But it's not only the choosing, it's also the serving. The people are served food, like when we went home, every home we go to, you are given food in a plate. You're not even allowed to serve yourself. So whatever you're served is like you must finish. So we have those problems. And choosing the wrong foods, the foods which are high in fat, high in sugar, and even those that are high in salt, which is also a problem. So we really do not understand what we need to choose.
But talking about the serving, for those who had the luxury of going on holiday, hotels usually serve buffets and serve food in buffets, and you tend to see people piling, you know, their plates with everything that the buffet has to offer. So what ideally would be, I mean, because all these look so appetizing, everybody, I mean, you want to get a taste of everything, but really, what is the right way to attack, for lack of a better word, a buffet?
Yeah, when you have a buffet, you need to choose from the various food groups. Usually, there are vegetables, there are fruits, there are the proteins, and there are the starches. So you're supposed to pick from each one of them. So the mistake we make is, if there is for starch, there is ugali, there is rice, there is chapati, we serve all of them.
Yeah.
Then we move to the next step. You find there is meat, beef, chicken, fish, and you serve all of them. So you want to test all those foods. And then you don't even then measure how much of each you should serve. So I think that's where we have a problem. A buffet, you're not forced to eat all the food. You're supposed to pick what you require on a plate as it's expected. Yeah.
And Dr. Josephine, before we get into your mandate as the Director General at the National Council of Population and Development, let's talk about your personal journey. You are very passionate about nutrition. Let's talk about your personal journey and how much weight you lost and what this festive season has been like for you.
Well, Lillian, I used to be very big. In fact, I was over 90 kilos. And I had all kinds of problems, you know, joint aches, backache, generally not being healthy and as active as I would have wanted to be. So I took a decision that I would work on my weight reduction. And this is mainly just through portion, you know, deciding the amount of calories, amount of proteins, amount of starch, as little fat as possible. And this is something which has to be continuous. You know, you cannot say today I'll do it, tomorrow I won't do it. So for me, within a period of 6 months, I was able to reduce my weight from 90 kilos to 75 kilos.
In 6 months?
6 months, yes.
Those are about 20, almost 20.
15 kilos, yeah. Within 6 months. Yeah, but
all on portion control.
Just portion control, and also exercises. But exercise, also one has to be careful what kind of exercise you engage in, also depending on the weight you have. Because if you start having very vigorous aerobics, when you are over 100 kilos, it begins to also get into your joints and other problems. So one has to gauge the exercises you engage in. But Vivian, I can assure you that the portion control is actually more important than even the exercise.
So give us an example of what your typical meal plan looked like in a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even the snacking in between.
Yes, I would, for breakfast, I would have maybe 150 grams of yogurt. Which is about, just give us a practical example of how small that is. It's the packets of yogurt which we buy in the supermarket. The smaller ones. The smallest, not the completely small, the 150 mils. But it's not just any yogurt, because you have to look at the fat content in that yogurt and also the calorie content. I don't want to say the brand I use, because we don't want to be promoting certain groups of companies. But one needs to look at the fat content. Should be 0.5 or less. 0.5. Yeah, but if you look at most of the yogurt, we are talking about 3.5. Yeah. If you look at the calorie also in the yogurt, should be less than 6 grams. But you look at the common yogurts, we are talking 12, 13 grams. So even as I talk of yogurt as one of the meals I used to have, you have to choose that which has low contents of this particular, especially calories and fat. So yogurt? Yes, an egg, a fried egg. I could have 1 fried egg. One. Not 2, not 3. 1. Of course, with some vegetables and a little starch. The problem actually is controlling the starch. I normally do not eat bread, white bread, and so forth. I eat ndoma and sweet potatoes. But I realized that I was actually eating too much of even those. Yeah, in terms of the amount of calories I was taking in from the arrowroots and the sweet potatoes. So the portion would be, I didn't bring any portion. I'm sure Gladys has the portion. We actually have a prop here. Yes, but this is the ugari. But for this would also be a good portion of sweet potato. There we go. Okay, so they can actually see. That's really tiny. Yeah, like this, with 1 egg and a little vegetable, spinach or skuma, and black tea without sugar. Black tea without sugar. Yeah, that's a typical breakfast. Yes. That's breakfast. That's breakfast. Lunch, a portion. I'm sure before lunch, though, you would get a little bit hungry. So if for those who are really active, there's those who have a sedentary lifestyle, and then there are people who are extremely active. So if you were to get hungry in between breakfast and lunch, then what would you snack on? I was taking a lot of water. I still take, because it's a lifestyle change. So I take a lot of water. So in between, you find once you keep taking water, actually you feel full. Occasionally, even to snack, I would snack on a biscuit, not the typical biscuit. It would be we call them rice cake. A rice cake, you can get them in the supermarket. It has 0 calories. But then again, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. Yeah. But I have realized that actually I don't even need to snack. If I just take the water throughout, I actually have a thermos of warm water I take almost throughout the day. And I eat the breakfast, I take lunch, and I take dinner. Early enough, by 7:30. Actually, today I'm very late. So very quickly, so that we go back to Gladys, lunch would comprise of what? Another small portion meal? Yes. I mean, if I take ugari for lunch, I may take rice for dinner, but small portion. Actually, it is just, you don't stop eating. It's just mixing, making sure that you have all the food types and in portions which didn't make sense. Right. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. We'll come back to you with more. Gladys, I see this chart here that talks about portion distortion. And when you go to a lot of fast food restaurants in Kenya,
in the CBD here in Nairobi and in a lot of the other counties as well, which are fast growing. This is what a typical meal looks like for a lot of people over lunch hour or over dinner as well. So we're seeing French fries, we're seeing burgers, we're seeing pizza, we're seeing soda. So let's go once again back to the festive season, because this is also a lot of what people were eating, especially in the fancy restaurants, and also ordering for their children. Let's talk about this chart and what it typically translates to.
Okay, first of all, we've moved from our natural food. That's another mistake. Our food that we eat as Kenyans, ugali, vegetables, the fruits and the beef. We are now here. We've started the quick foods that are processed and are packaged. So this shows that when this food is being served, this plate up here has some extras that are not required. This is the right amount. So when you're talking about portion, so there's more here. If you look at each of them, this is double of this.
The ketchup actually is less in the second plate as well.
Yes, all of them. So this is the right way to serve when you want to lose weight.
So this is not bad food. It's just also, I mean, it depends on the amount of it that you're consuming.
Also this is not good food. It may be good if the amount of oil used to make the chips is just a little, and you may not even have to use oil to make chips. There's a lot of oil here. You can see the chips have been used to, I mean, they have been cooked using oil. And then when you come to these also, there's
the burger.
The burger has oil. The meat in there has been cooked using oil. And the bread has starch, and she has just talked about that. So oil, sugar and starch are mainly the ones that have calories. So when you double your calories like that, then you've distorted the portioning that you're talking about when you want to lose weight. So the right thing to do is to just take a little of each of those foods. As she was explaining, she had to take care of the portions. When you talk of portions, and I have a piece of ugali here, because this is what we are used to, talking to all Kenyans, we all eat ugali.
This is for a man as well. Say a man, I mean, kwa watazamaji wetu ambao wanafanya kazi kwa mjengo, they will find it hard to understand how that small portion of ugali will sustain them.
Okay, you're supposed to take 2 pieces of this, depending on how active you are. And we have some guidance. So if you're more active, you're working with mjengo, you can take 3.
3 of those?
Yes. If you're not doing much, you take 2. If you want to lose weight, you take 1. And that's what she was talking about.
Let's talk about the rest of what you have on that plate there. If my director could get that shot. We have a demo here of what your plate should ideally look like. And we're not going to get into the plate because I don't think we're going to be able to get those details very clearly. Gladys, let's talk about this. Okay, we are okay. All right, let's go ahead.
So for the plate, a good plate should have these foods, all of them together. And
as
the portioning, the vegetables, you should have vegetables, you should have fruits, you should have grains, and you should have the meats or protein. So for a balanced diet, you need to have all those portions. The mistakes we make is when we pick meat only and the starch. So we need vegetables, because there are nutrients in these fruits and vegetables that are going to help you utilize the carbohydrates that you've taken in. So it's very important when you're losing weight. Don't leave out the fruits because you need them.
What is that?
This is meat. Now we're talking about portions. So this is a portion of meat.
That's a portion of meat.
So you shouldn't take more than that. But you know how much Kenyans take? It could be double. But I could use a palm.
Use your palm. So use your palm too. Okay. But
if it's thicker, then you use your finger. That thickness around here, that is enough. Or 4 pieces of meat is enough for you for a meal. When you talk about the vegetables and the way we cook them, we mix several. We put carrots. We have some beans in there. the amount of oil we use shouldn't be visible. We usually have oil showing at the top, and that's what we love.
Yeah, Kenyans believe the sweetness of food is,
so
is
if you
in
look
the
at
oil.
this, if you look at this closely,
the
oils are they're in very small amounts.
How much oil is enough for, say, for a family of 5?
Yes.
If you're making stew for a family of 5, how should you measure the oil?
One spoon.
One tablespoon.
Yes, if you're going to finish that food. There are times we cook and you want to keep this food for another meal. So when you're trying to see how much you're going to use as a family, you look at also whether you're going to finish it at that time. Yeah. Okay. So we shouldn't be putting a lot of oil to a level that it's visible. So this is an easy way of making sure you're not taking too much fat. Then water is part of what you should take.
Water, a lot of water.
You've heard she said it helped her, and if you take 8 glasses per day, then you're able to get enough of enough water for your digestion, circulation of the nutrients, and to make you feel healthy. Right. Even when you sweat, the water removes the toxins from your body. So it's necessary to have that. Then fruits, fresh fruits. Is an orange, but you can choose any other fruit and make it part of your meal every day. When you talk about portions, there are people who are extremely into fruits. Yeah. So overindulging in fruits could also lead to excess calories? Yes. And that's another big mistake. There are fruits which have a lot of sugar. Watermelon is one of them. Apples, bananas. And bananas actually have starch. Yeah. So we should also be careful if we want to lose weight, such that we take the portions that are enough for that. So don't go having 5 apples a day. That's why I think the saying is an apple a day. An apple a day. Yeah. Yes. Okay. And then spread them out throughout the day, not sitting and eating all that food at the same time. Some people eat and say, I'll eat and not have dinner. That's not a good habit. You should be eating the 3 meals, and you can have snacks in between. Right. Yeah. Okay. You know, as we start to wind up the conversation, so many questions are coming in. Let's talk about Kenyans' eating habits. In your mandate, what have you observed about how Kenyans are eating? Are we a healthy nation when we talk about development and life expectancy? What you as a parastatal have observed?
Yeah, you know, over time, we've noticed that, of course, Kenyans are getting more obese. The figures are there. The demographic and health survey of 2014 shows that the percentage of Kenyans who are obese has actually gone up to 10%. And this obesity also involves even children. You know, the study which was showed pre-primary kids, you know, about 4% are actually having obesity. And that means that this affects many aspects of life, especially lifestyle diseases like diabetes, issues of hypertension, and all this has actually led to a point where we are having Kenyans who are less healthy than used to happen in the past, when people are using more traditional foods and so forth. So the eating habits of Kenyans has not helped us as a nation. It's caused what we call non-communicable diseases. It's now, as a country, we are having a double burden of disease. Previously, it's malaria, HIV, and the TB, which were killing Kenyans more. Now, the non-communicable diseases, as a result of our eating habits, is also taking almost 50% of the deaths are related to this non-communicable diseases, which are related directly to the eating habits. Back to your personal story, and those are shocking statistics, by the way. Back to your personal story, did you have cheat days? I mean, you talk about having a very elaborate eating plan, a very disciplined one, but then on days like now during the festive season, when you actually couldn't get away from eating with family and friends, what were the results of that, if at all you chose to indulge? Yeah, well, I would want to say that one should do things in moderation. You know, that's because when you decide that you're going to live in a certain way, it's a lifestyle change. It's a lifetime change. But we are human. And like what Gladys said, over Christmas, I went home to my mother's house. And you know, there you just have to eat. The neighbors are asking you to visit them. They have some discussion around maybe their child is not well. Being a doctor, I am consulted for everything. So they stew with lots of milk, and milk is another deadly thing. The other neighbor wants to give you a sugar cane. So these are real life experiences. And for me...
And you cannot say no.
I mean, we are Africans, and there are things you cannot just... No, I don't take tea. I don't, you know. So... You have just to kind of moderate after that. You may have to do a crash program to get rid of because they build up. Vivian, I can tell you over this Christmas I've added 2 kilos because of this African way of doing business, because we are what we are. So these are things which will happen. Occasionally I also have a piece of pizza, but then you must now say, okay, if you had pizza for lunch, because you cheated, like you call it, then what do you have for dinner? Because the calories will be there. So you have to make sure that then you reduce the starch or the oil which you take in the evening. And then we see something again about breakfast. You know, many of us don't take breakfast. You rush with a cup of coffee or white bread and something. But what Gladys said about having the 3 types of foodstuffs, it includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we want people to eat spinach in the morning, with their yogurt or with their boiled egg or something, so that it's a complete meal. It's not just a by the way, you know, breakfast is just running around with a cup of coffee, because that's where trouble starts.
And there's a lot of questions that are coming in, but just to sum up our conversation and just get a summary from our experts. First of all, very quickly to you, Gladys, when you talked about fruits, this generated a lot of interest. And somebody's asking, when is best to consume fruits? Is it before a meal or after a meal?
Yeah, that's a common question. Really, there is no... Okay, it depends on what you want. If you are losing weight and you take fruits before the main meal, then it helps you to fill your stomach.
Right.
And as long as these foods are meeting in the stomach, at the same time, it doesn't matter. That has been a question, and people have ideas. They're saying, no, if you take later, then it's the best thing. There is no difference. And the other problem is some people are, you know, taking then too much of the fruits, and then they are not able to eat the normal meal. I mean, the carbohydrates and the protein. We should have all of them.
There's a lot of misconceptions and myths around putting lemon in water and whether that actually helps in cutting those excess calories. Dr. Josephine here told us that for her, portion control really worked, even more than the exercise did. But for those who, I see a lot of ladies walking around carrying these fancy jugs that have lemon slices in them. So how effective is that? Okay,
the lemon is helping you, of course, to have the vitamin C, which is required, but it's not going to remove that fat which you've already taken in. There is a misconception that it's breaking down the fats. The fats will be absorbed. The lemon will not stop the absorption of the fats. That's one thing people always think. When they take lemon, then the fats are going to be broken down. So it's good to have lemon because it's required for vitamin C. But let's not think that is what is going to help us to break down the fats.
Okay, final question as I get your parting comments. A lot of the gentlemen, and even the ladies, but more so the gentlemen, are saying that their weight goes a lot around their tummies. I don't know if these are people who indulge in alcohol or not, but for those who are concerned that all their weight is going to the stomach area, what do you think that is all about?
It depends on our body shapes, and also those who take a lot of alcohol, you know, you feel that in your tummy, it expands, and then you start depositing. And that's why those who drink end up having a big tummy and then a lot of fat around it.
on the same.
Yes, Lillian, visceral fat is actually the one which causes a lot of problem. It's called visceral fat, which is around here. And when somebody is gaining weight, that's where it feels fast. You know, it begins by being laid around this area, and that is also the dangerous fat, because most people who have this too much visceral fat of I don't know, it's 30%, I forget the figure off head, have more tendencies of getting even heart attacks, hypertension, diabetes, and so forth. So when one is building fat around this area, they shouldn't be very concerned.
And let's take your tweets now. And you know, this might sound like it's just about food and denying you the luxuries of life. But then again, you've had the experts talk about lifestyle diseases, hypertension, cardiac arrest, diabetes, and all these other lifestyle diseases that might come along because of your eating habits. Let's take your tweet as I read out your comments and as we get parting remarks from our experts in studio. There you go. I believe portion control is a bigger problem than healthy eating in Kenya. We eat more than our bodies require. Portion control is the real deal. This is Maggie Matolo. Thank you for that, Maggie Matolo. And in the interest of time, I'll just read two messages here. Somebody is saying, I'm so worried. My tummy is getting bigger every day. I'm losing friends and wearing clothes. You might think I am pregnant. This is, I'm so sorry, Josephine, but there is help if you actually catch our interview later and take the notes from our experts. You'll be able to get value out of what they've advised here. Somebody here is saying, that I am breastfeeding. How can I lose weight? I had an abortion. I mean, I had a surgery, and therefore I don't know how to lose the weight. And finally, here somebody is saying, for diabetic people, what food should I be on? And I think this is a topic for another day, because that's a whole other discussion, and so is breastfeeding. So ladies, as we close, your parting remarks. I mean, the damage has been done, and we don't want to get into what you should not have done, but into the what you should do. Just to sum it up very quickly, Gladys, for you, your parting remarks for that viewer who is watching and needs quick help, so that they can get right back on track in terms of their eating.
Yeah, we must spend what we take in. I mean, we must work out. We must have, if you've taken in more than you think you should take, then you should do some exercise. But also looking at the age, as she said, don't overdo it as you grow older, because there are other effects that it will have. And also don't start heavy exercise when you've added too much weight. The other thing is we need to look at our age and how much we require. As you grow older, you should reduce the amount of food you eat, because the older people are also the ones really suffering from the diseases we are talking about. So let's be cautious. Portioning is a very important thing in nutrition.
Portion.
Yeah, Vivian, I think we just need moderation. You know, as Kenyans, we are wasting a lot of food. You know, first of all, when you are eating a whole plate of ugali with chapati and so forth, all this cost. You know, I'm speaking from a developmental point of view. And this is food you don't need. So you're actually just getting yourself sick from food and wasting money. So we need to just do things in moderation. We don't need to have 50, 60-year-old women looking pregnant, because that is nothing. It's just fat in there. So we need to really go back to our roots and ask ourselves, what can we eat that which will make us healthy, and what should be the right portion? Because it is possible, it is not, it's not theoretical. And most of this food is just killing us. Like I said, we have more diabetes, more hypertension. People are dying from heart attacks at 40 years, or because of some of these lifestyle problems generated by food.
Well, thank you so much for your time, ladies. And our viewers are asking how to get in touch with you. So just briefly, because I'm sure for those who may have missed Monday Special, they'll be able to catch it on YouTube. Very quickly, how people can get in touch with you, not your personal number or anything, but just professionally, if they have any inquiries, how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I work with the Ministry of Health. So they can find me at the Ministry of Health, next to Kenyatta National Hospital, Department of Family Health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the Director General of the National Council for Population and Development, like you introduced me. Our offices are Chancery Building, 4th floor. Email address, Director General at ncpd.go.ke.
Thanks for sharing, ladies. We've been talking to Gladys Mugambi. As she said, she's the head of nutrition at the Ministry of Health. And we're also joined tonight by Dr. Josephine Kibaru, who's the Director General, National Council for Population and Development in the Ministry of Planning and Evolution. If you have any more questions, please continue to send them in using Monday Special KE. That's the hashtag, or on 22422. It is certainly a conversation that cannot end healthy eating. Is quite a big topic, and we'll be able to explore more on this topic in subsequent bulletins right here on Citizen TV. We thank you so much for your time this evening. My name is Lillian Muli. Good night.